Hello and welcome to BlytheWeigh Business News. My guest today is Richard Lloyd, CEO of MINEXIA, which this year launched NR Private Market, a mining-specific funding platform. Richard, welcome for coming in.
Good afternoon.
And could you tell us a bit about NR Private Market, the concept, how it came about and why?
Yeah, it's been probably 3 years in the making. A group of us had identified from our various backgrounds, whether that be in mining and exploration, in fund management, in investment banking, that there is a gap, and an ever widening gap, in the junior financing market for mining and exploration and project development. They are the projects that people are looking for, sort of $1 to $5 million to $10 million to get these projects up to feasibility study and beyond. And dare I say, it's grown-up financing, perhaps when the banks or the royalty streams, etc., get involved. But there are so many projects, there's so many very good projects out there that really lack the funding, and we identified that gap, and we're trying to fill that space with a platform that retail investors can get involved in, and it's not just at the behest of the big institutional investors, etc.
How do you see this being complementary to current mining finance? How does it support it, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, the traditional routes would be the equity brokers, and indeed every deal we've done to date and the deal we've just launched, it sits alongside often those broker offerings. We're not pretending at this stage it's a magic wand that's going to solve everything. We're still very much in our startup phases, but in a lot of other areas of business, you're seeing platform-based technology, whether it be Airbnb or Uber or Booking.com. We saw the demise of travel agents recently. Is there this sort of level of technology? I think needs to be embraced, and sometimes the mining industry can be a bit slower in embracing the new technology, but we need to allow these companies access and a different way of accessing the capital.
So how do you see investors getting involved? I mean, what are the practical steps they can take?
That's very, very easy. Obviously, we need to market ourselves and make people aware that we're out there. Then there is a different route to getting earlier access to these deals at an earlier stage of their development. Very often, you and I may only find out about a deal, in the second, third, or fourth round of funding, where ideally, if you want to get in the first round or the second round, where obviously the price would be lower. But signing up is very easy. An investor will log on to www.nrprivatemarket.com, express their interest, that they're interested in becoming an investor. They're taken through, they have to self-certify that they are either a sophisticated investor, i.e. they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, they understand the risks involved in investing in mining projects, or they self-certify that they're high net worth. So it does, and we are regulated by the FCA as an authorised representative, and we need to be very careful and clear that we're not trying to attract £500 here and £500 there. There need to be sort of investors that understand the risks of the sector.
And how does it work from the point of view of issuers? What's their approach to this going to be?
Yeah, in a very similar way. I mean, we have no lack of a pipeline for deals coming, for junior mining companies, etc., and project development companies. If they get a whiff of new money or an alternative way of raising finance, they are going to come knocking. We're probably putting about 1 in 10 deals on the platform that we're seeing, but it's a very similar sign-up process. So the issuer needs to go through similar KYC, know your client, and anti-money laundering checks. And we also have an investment committee. Whilst we're not deploying our own funds, we need to ascertain and understand the project, and is it appropriate to put on the platform. So whilst we're not recommending a stock, we are vetting what we're putting on there. It's our own reputation as well, and we want to make sure that our investors are getting access to good deals.
So could you talk about some of the deals you've done so far and how they were selected?
Sure. Our first deal was Kincora Copper, which is a copper porphyry in Mongolia. So probably quite an interesting territory for your first deal, but just up the road from the huge Oyo Tolgoi mine. So it's a very good. Geology doesn't really obey political boundaries. You know, if the geology is good, it doesn't really matter where it is. So that was the first deal that came to us. They had a large holding in Asia, and it's a TSXV listed company, and alongside the broker offering, we raised in total 6.5 million Canadian all in, and we contributed to that. And they were oversubscribed as well, which again the investors were very pleased with, because very often an oversubscribed deal you would get scaled back. So if you wanted to invest, let's say £25,000, you may get scaled back to 20 or 0 very often, and that sometimes happens with the smaller retail investor. So the investors were very pleased that they didn't get scaled back on that one.
And what are the regulatory controls? What's the regulatory picture?
Yeah, it's really protecting you as an investor. You do not want a sort of a rogue broker. I mean, this has been described as sophisticated crowdfunding. That is what the sort of platform basis of doing this is. And we just need to be very, very careful that all our investors are understanding the risks they're getting into, and that we are providing as much protection as we can to that investor base. And obviously, critically, any sort of platform like this will be susceptible to ill-gotten gains, and we need to be very, very careful that we are assessing the investors and the issuers coming onto the platform, so that we don't have that issue.
And are there any current deals live or proposed coming up?
Yes, we've just launched our 4th deal, so we've done 3 to date. We have just launched Cobra Resources, which is a London-listed entity with a South Australian gold project, and that's up and live now, and investors are signing up and having a look. And we put all the information there from the company. We work with the company in terms of corporate presentation and the CEO interviews, a bit like we're doing today, the technical studies, etc., and an overview of the deal and the structure and what's being offered. Again, that sits alongside a brokered offering as well.
Richard, thank you very much. That's all we've got time for today, but I hope very much we'll see you again soon to hear more about our platform.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you for watching BlytheWeigh Business News.